Hey guys, Welsknight here, and welcome back to another episode of Kingdoms. I hope you guys are having an awesome day. I am having a fantastic day. I think today we're going to do something that I probably should have done forever ago, and that is I want to connect Nembonia to Bullstone. It's time to make a road. I like to have all of my various kingdoms connected up via roads in the overworld. I think it's a lot more immersive. And right now, I've just been flying back and forth, maybe, what is this, probably 150, 200 blocks? Something like that. I think it is long past time that I actually make a road here. I've been putting it off for too long. So that's the plan for today. Let's just chop down a couple of these trees. What you want to... Oh, I am able to reach the one on top. I didn't think I was going to be able to. But basically... come down, please. Thank you. There we go. The plan is to make the road. I'm thinking probably a lot of coarse dirt. And it's going to kind of come through the woods here. So I'll have to kind of clear a pathway where we get rid of the trees. And then it'll probably kind of come up over here. And where do we want the road to kind of come through? Maybe like right here. Maybe we kind of split it out through these houses. That could work. Yeah, I like the idea of that. So we're going to do probably a path kind of like this one, actually. Kind of a lot of coarse dirt, maybe some path blocks. And then we'll add in some foliage, and we'll probably want to add a couple little kind of points of interest along the way, maybe like a campsite or, different things like that to kind of just make it look a little bit more interesting as you travel the path. So first thing I need to do is kind of start digging out the path and figure out like where I want it to go. I think, honestly, wow, I have like no jungle wood. Okay, I was gonna say jungle wood and coarse dirt go very, very, very well together. Like, let's just make a couple jungle wood slabs here. Like, look how similar that is in color. That's like the perfect color. So I think I actually do want to use jungle wood. I may have to go and get some more, and if I need to, that's fine. It's not that big of a deal. I'm not actually sure where there even is. Oh, yeah, there's a jungle, like, over just out of render distance over there. Well, actually, it's a little bit farther than that. It's probably 400 blocks or so, but it's only a short Elytra flight away. I think that'll be fine. So I'm going to start kind of digging out a path here. And we'll just kind of make something work and, figure out where we want it to go. It's probably going to kind of come up this hill, kind of go over the hill and split off in this general direction. I don't think there are any like rivers or anything like that are going to be in the way where we have to make a bridge or anything along those lines. So I think that should all be fine. But yeah, let me get to digging and laying out this path, and I'll be back with you in just a little bit. All right, guys, so I've made a bit of progress. I've got most of the coarse dirt road in place. Now, it's not going to be just coarse dirt, but I want to start with this because then once you have the coarse dirt kind of down and you've got the pathway kind of like laid out and all that kind of stuff, from there, it's pretty easy to kind of mix in other materials as you go. Let's just kind of widen this just a little bit. I started out doing like a 2-block wide road, and ultimately I widened it to 3. So I think I'm going to come back to this little section here and make it a little bit wider after I get kind of the rest of the road in place. But it kind of wraps through the woods, goes up a couple of hills, kind of wraps around here a little bit, and then it kind of goes through the woods over here. And it wraps around this little bend and it just kind of curves and it flows kind of organically, which I think is really important for roads like this that aren't meant to be like super well developed, right? Like obviously if you were making like a proper road, that would be a little bit different, but this is more of a pathway. This is more of a trail, if you will, rather than like something that was made out of stone and concrete and et cetera, et cetera. So it kind of wraps around again. And then it kind of comes down here. I want to make that a little bit. There we go. And then it comes to this hill. And I want to do this part of it together because this is something that I think a lot of people kind of struggle with, is how to like blend the road into a hill like this and make it look kind of natural and organic. Because if you see here, there's basically, this is what we're dealing with. So I've started kind of building up some of the sides a little bit. And what I want to do is kind of figure out how I want this to be shaped, right? So I think we'll bring that back. I need to grab a little coarse dirt right here, like so. Let's maybe go a grass block there, here, grab these, and we'll go maybe something like this, right? And we'll kind of bring this bit over, and maybe this kind of comes back like so. It doesn't have to be exact. I mean, the idea is we're trying to sort of mimic what natural Minecraft terrain generation looks like, right? So we don't want it to be a lot of, we don't want tons and tons of like straight lines, and you don't want to just build it up at an angle like this straight up, because then it becomes very obvious that it is not naturally generated. And I want that kind of like natural terrain generation feel. So we're gonna kind of come over here. Maybe we'll go like here, and then maybe another one like right there. And our road will kind of go like that. So it kind of comes up the side of the hill a little bit right here. And then over here, we probably want that down again. And then this one will kind of wrap around like so. Yeah, I think this tree needs to go. So let's get rid of you. There we go. And then I think we'll go probably like here. And we can just kind of do something along these lines, I think. Right? Just kind of get some of that coarse dirt in there. Maybe one here, maybe something like that. So it kind of wraps up. And then that will be the continuation of the path, I think. Like right here. And then once you get up to the hill, then it's easy. Once you get up to this like flatter area, right, then it becomes a lot easier to manage and work with, because then you're just back to basically digging out roads and following the contours of the hill, right? So something like that. Maybe this one kind of comes over like so, right? Yeah, that'll do. And then we just kind of bring this over around here. And then from here, it'll probably come up around this way. And then down like so, is what I'm thinking. Yeah. Yeah, I think that'll be pretty good, I think. Ooh. Oh no, I'm in the water. Get out of the water, please. Here we go. So let's see. If we're doing that, we probably want to bring it up like right about here. We'll go maybe there. And I'm actually really low on coarse dirt. I don't know if I'm even gonna have enough to complete this road. I may need to go grind for some gravel, interestingly enough, because I have like no more gravel left. I don't think I have any gravel in like either of my storage rooms, which is pretty terrible when you think about how old this world is. But I suppose it gets used for things like coarse dirt and stuff like that. So whatever, it is what it is. But we'll just kind of bring that up there. Maybe that one becomes a coarse dirt as well. And then it'll kind of come up, and I think like right here is where we want to go like that. Get rid of you. Do a little something along those lines to kind of bring the road up. Fill that one in. And then we just kind of bring the road over like so. And maybe down like right here-ish. Yeah, I think that'll be good. Let's just kind of fill in this little bit. There we go. And then back and over. And I think, I mean, it's kind of one of those like weird things, right? Where the bridge is much wider than the road as it stands right now. And I don't think I really want to widen the road too much because it's going to look really out of place. So let's kind of bring it around at an angle like that, right? How much coarse dirt do I have? Wow, I have 38 pieces of coarse dirt left to my name. That is pretty terrible. I'm totally going to run out like right before we hit the bridge. Yeah. Yep. Oh, isn't that just typical? Okay, well, maybe we change this up. Maybe we go like here, right? And then this will kind of wrap like so. And we'll end up filling a lot of that in with coarse dirt as well. That'll probably be a coarse dirt, and then it'll kind of come down that way. But going back to that hill, now we want to make this look a little bit more natural as far as natural terrain generation. So we've got, first of all, a lot of these like gaps, right? And these look super out of place because when do you see stuff like that in Minecraft? So we're going to kind of do something like this, I think. And up here, we can kind of make it a bit flatter. This is going to be a mob generator underneath if I'm not careful. But let's kind of go like this. We'll sort of widen this bit out a little bit, and then we'll kind of kick this edge out a little bit too. And maybe we go something like that. That looks pretty good, I think, as far as does this look like it was generated in Minecraft? And I think it does. I think that looks pretty good. Maybe we want to like extend some of this stuff out just a little bit, right? Make that look, maybe kick that back a couple. Yeah, I think that's good. So there's our pathway. I need to finish with the coarse dirt and stuff, obviously, because that is a thing. We can't just have a road that ends right here, right before we're at the bridge. And I'm also going to have to kind of mess with the bridge a little bit as well, I think, to kind of get this, because this is a very wide bridge, and then this angle is pretty steep. So I'm going to have to mess with that a bit too, but we're getting there. I'm making progress, and I don't have too much more to do as far as getting the road to exist. I do have a lot more to do when it comes to actually detailing the road and making it interesting and all that kind of stuff, though. So let me get to work. All right, guys, I am back. I think I've got all the coarse dirt where I want it to go, except for this one block right here. That looks really bad. Okay, there we go. Problem solved. So anyway, I think I've got all the coarse dirt in place. I still need to widen this a little bit, but I don't really have a whole... this is all the coarse dirt I have. 15. And that's all the gravel I had, too. But the next step is going to be mixing in some other materials, and that will therefore get us some coarse dirt back that we can use to extend this path a little bit, make it a little bit wider, etc., etc. So, you know, we'll kind of widen this as we go. There we go. So what I want to do is kind of start mixing in some other stuff, as I said, and I think I want to mix in some jungle wood. So let's actually let's make a whole bunch of jungle wood planks. And I also want to mix in some path blocks. So we'll do something kind of like this. I kind of want this to look like semi-developed, if that makes sense. So we'll mix in like some jungle wood slabs. We'll mix in... I also need grass blocks. There we go. We'll mix in some of this and maybe turn them into path blocks like that. Maybe that becomes coarse dirt as well. And that one becomes a path block. That's a little too perfect. Something kind of like this, right? So we'll just sort of mix in some path blocks in various places, and that's going to get us coarse dirt back that we can use to kind of widen this road a little bit. So it'll be like a combination of jungle wood and path blocks. Maybe we turn that one into a path block as well. Looks like it's becoming every time I go to start recording, we get a little bit of isn't that just typical? Anyway, you know, stuff like this, just to kind of make the path a little bit more interesting and less boring, because otherwise you end up with a path that's just very samey, and I don't think that's good. Let's go ahead and take a little bit of a nap now that it is night. There we go. Problem solved. And maybe we can use like, maybe we use like a plank there. And then I do think when you're going to use a path right next to a slab going up like this, you want to put something underneath just so you still see the jungle wood texture there. Something along these lines I think could be pretty good. And then maybe we put a slab here. I feel like that should probably be a slab. Let's maybe go there, here, there, and like this to kind of bring that up. And then I think we'll kind of widen it like right here. Probably should turn that into a, actually that should probably be a slab. But then as we kind of go along here, we can kind of widen this a little bit more, mix in a bit more jungle wood. Right? Something like that, a little bit here, a little bit there, just to kind of mix some other stuff into the path. And as I said, you know, make it more interesting. That's the ultimate goal, is just to have a path that is not all one material, because you can do better. You can do better than just having a singular material. And I think the path blocks add a little bit of depth and make it look a little bit more traveled. And I don't know, like there's a lot of things you can do with this. And I think some of them are better than others. You know, I think it's good to kind of keep the same like color tones for the most part. So we're using like a lot of browns and stuff here, which I think is a good idea. I think that's helpful for making a path that actually looks pretty decent as opposed to one that does not. And then we're going to kind of get our jungle planks back as we go. So that's kind of the plan. I'm just going to kind of go along this whole path and sort of mix in a variety of other different materials, mix in the jungle, mix in the path blocks and all that kind of stuff. And when it's done, I'll be back. All right, guys, I am back. I think the path is done. Check it out. We got the path blocks, we got the jungle wood all mixed in, and I think it's looking good. I'm quite happy with it. I want to jump into the comment of the day. And this one says, have you noticed the uneven scale of your 2 seasons of Kingdoms? Season 1 was a lot of work done in those 150 episodes. Season 2, we're on episode 65, and you haven't even completed 2 Kingdoms yet. Not disappointed, but curious of your reasons and thoughts for this. And that's from Tyler Stevens. So, yeah, that's actually an interesting thing to consider, because by season 2, or by episode 65 of season 1, I believe I had Ultum completed, Annona completed, Solus started, and I think we had just started Rathnor the Ravine Kingdom. And here we are in Season 2, Episode 65. I'd say that Bullstone is pretty much completed. I mean, maybe there's a couple minor things we might do here, but I'd say for the most part it's completed. And then we've got Nembonia started. We also started a jungle kingdom that we didn't ever name, and we didn't really finish it. Speaking of which, I meant to be kind of bone mealing this path as we sort of go along here. This is Lazy Man's landscaping. We'll come back and do more with this later. But for now, I just kind of want to bone meal along here a little bit, just so it feels, you know, a little bit more alive. We'll get a little color in with the flowers and, you know, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, I think there's a couple things. First of all, scale is something to kind of consider. Well, first of all, remember, we're only a third of the way through Season 2 of Kingdoms, and we've done some very, very large projects, like the Guardian Farm, for example, that we didn't do in Season 1. So the Guardian Farm is one example. There's a bunch of stuff like that. Things, the Blaze Farm, the Wither Skeleton Farm. There's all sorts of different things that we've kind of done that aren't really in this, like, they're not necessarily within a kingdom. So a lot of, like, kind of farms and stuff that we didn't really do much of in Season 1 until later, because it wasn't until, I didn't really start getting into technical stuff a whole lot until kind of halfway through Season 1 of Kingdoms. So there's been a lot of projects like that that are kind of spread out in other places. The Guardian Farm, the Wither Skeleton Farm, the Blaze Farm, etc., 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 right? The other thing to keep in mind is kind of scale. Nembonia is huge in comparison to some of the other kingdoms. Even Bullstone, even our little starter kingdom in Season 2, is larger than some of the kingdoms in Season 1. I mean, if you think about, like, Altum, the starter kingdom in Season 1, it's basically a tower and a town hall and some walls around it. That's basically it. It's like 3 buildings. You know, Annona, I think, is fairly small as well. And actually, Annona's larger now than it was at this point in Season 1, because we came back to Annona later and made more things. The Solus had like 2 different houses in it at this point. The cathedral wasn't finished until much, much later. And a lot of the other stuff wasn't done there as well. So it's kind of a matter, part of it's a matter of scale. Like, I think as far as actual, like, content, like progression-wise, I think we actually have done about the same this season as we have last season. Maybe we've had a couple more talky episodes or something like that. You know, a lot of it, there's been a lot of, like, texture pack stuff and things like that as well. But I think for the most part, we're actually progressing at about the same pace. It's just that we're taking on much bigger projects this season. Like, this manor, for example, that took several episodes, and this is a huge thing, but it's only 1 building within 1 kingdom. You know, all of these houses equal, like, Altum plus Annona easily. But it's all within 1 kingdom. So it might seem like we're progressing at a little bit of a slower pace, but we're really not. It's just that our builds are either spread out and not actually part of a kingdom, or the kingdoms themselves are much larger and have a lot more stuff in them than they did at this point in Season 1. And remember, we're only, like, I mean, if Kingdoms Season 2 lasts 150 episodes, just like Kingdoms Season 1 did, and I haven't even decided on that yet, I'm not thinking that far ahead, but even still, we'd only be a little bit over a third of the way through. So I don't really think we're progressing at a pace that I'm unhappy with. I think it just kind of seems like it because Nembonia is such a big project, and you know, we kind of burned through a lot of sort of smaller kingdoms very quickly in Season 1. So yeah, that's kind of the deal. But I think this is good enough on the road for now. I want to add some points of interest. I want to get maybe like a little campsite, or maybe we could put like a tavern or like an inn, like about halfway through, maybe like in the woods or something. We could find some way to do something along those lines, you know, just kind of add some sort of interest along the path other than just the path itself. I also want to go through and do a little bit more with the actual landscaping and stuff like that. You know, maybe some bushes and maybe a couple custom trees. That's one thing that I really need to get better at, is custom trees. Because I just don't do them very often, and I'm very good friends with one of the best custom tree makers in the game of Minecraft. Good times with Scar. I could probably learn a few things. But anyway, guys, I think I'm gonna wrap this one up for today. We're actually having dinner with the neighbors in about an hour, and I need to get the grill fired up and all that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna cut it a little bit short today, but that's okay. My friends, if you enjoyed the video, you know what to do. Links in the description below, so check that out as well. Otherwise, my friends, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.